The Calgary real estate market is not crashing. Again, contrary to maybe some of the news headlines that you may be seeing, that the real estate market is doom and gloom. Now, I'm going to just kind of break this down for each and every one of you, perhaps what it will mean for you if you're a buyer or a seller in today's market. We are basically entering into more balanced market territory here in Calgary. We are getting to the inventory levels that we saw pre-pandemic. So this again doesn't mean that the world is crashing, that the prices are crashing or anything like that. Real estate is driven by supply and demand. And clearly, we are now seeing more supply in the marketplace that we haven't seen for years. And this is actually welcoming news. It's welcoming news if you're a buyer because you now have more choice and more options. This also means that the buyers have more negotiating powers as well when they put in an offer to negotiate the best price and terms for their property purchase. This is a sign of relief for buyers. We're actually now working with many buyers who have been looking for a home for the last couple of years, but they ended up taking a few breaks here and there because it was pretty daunting to find a home that you fall in love with, and as you're reaching for the door handle, you realize that you have to make one of your biggest purchasing decisions in a matter of minutes to put in an offer, and in many cases that meant that you had to put in an offer way over asking price, crossing your fingers that you would win the prize, and that would be the home. This is no longer the fact here in Calgary. This is, again, not the market that we're in, although I will say there are small segments in the marketplace and certain properties that still go into competing offer scenarios. And it's in the apartment and the row townhome segments where you've seen a reduction in price by 4 to 5%. This means that there's opportunity here, and a huge part of that is all the new supply entering the market from developers and builders in this segment. So if you are someone who's looking to get into this segment, great news, you have options and you have negotiating powers. In the single family detached and semi-detached segments, pricing is pretty stable in this segment of the marketplace. There are more inventory, more choice. That means, again, you may not have to make those decisions as you reach for the door handle, which is better for you, the buyer. Now, if you're a seller, the prices are not where they were last year. Demand is not where it was last year. Demand has softened in the marketplace. Hence why we're sitting with about 3.3 months of inventory in our marketplace. So that means balanced market territory. So if you are a seller, first and foremost, you need to sit there and look at what value is the competition showcasing in the marketplace, because now sellers are competing for a much smaller number of buyers, and at the same time, urgency is not in the marketplace as well from those buyers. So you need to now be strategic about how you present your property. You need to put in the work to make sure that property is showing its best features and benefits when it's being marketed. So that means you may need to do a pre-inspection, because buyers are sitting on pins and needles. They're questioning whether or not now is the right time to buy. If you watch the news headlines, there's a lot of not so great economic news. We have this thing called tariffs that we are seeing in the headlines each and every day. There's a lot of uncertainty about the economic future in Canada and here in the province as well. Yes, our economy is doing pretty good here still today. However, if there's any change in the oil prices, if there's downward pressure on the price of oil, OPEC is talking obviously about increasing the supply, which could have downward pressure on the price of oil as well. We could see our economy shift a bit, but as for right now, we're sitting in a pretty good spot. That still means you as a seller need to have realistic expectations of the marketplace. Again, doing a pre-inspection, making sure that the property is staged and presented the best possible way as well, so that buyers can walk into your home and immediately see themselves living in there, and where you have eliminated any friction for that potential buyer to fall in love with your home. Now, the other thing that you need to consider when you are in a marketplace like this, you need to have strategic marketing. You need to have the best marketing to put your property in front of most potential buyers as possible. And a little shameless plug of the Justin Havre Real Estate team, our marketing is tested and proving, having assisted over 11,000 families here in the marketplace. We are seeing some homeowners needing to sell because of some financial pressures. Clearly, there's been a lot of inflation in Canada here in the last several years, with mortgage renewals being a reality as well. The cost of home ownership, the cost of insuring your home, property taxes, everything has gone up. So there are people out there that are seeking to step out of home ownership and getting into rentals. There are also people who are looking at upsizing and downsizing because they're seeing opportunity in the marketplace. The luxury market is actually doing quite well. The sales in this segment is actually up year over year. Now, there are many factors for this. There's perhaps more choice and more options of available product. There's also some people who are considering buying in the resale market versus building new. There's been a lot of challenges in the construction industry and new homes here in the last several years. Quality, timelines, budgets of any new build doesn't seem to align with the original expectations that perhaps a buyer had when they started the build process. So rather going through a lot of disappointments, some people are choosing to purchase in the resale market. So wrapping all this together, I think it's really dependent on what property type you're looking to purchase or sell, what your current situation is. And this is why I encourage every one of you, reach out to us for a private consultation about where your real estate dreams and aspirations are, where you want to move to, or why you want to sell, so that we can then create a personalized strategy on how we can get you moved to your next destination. You can always find us online at justinhavre.com or even calgary.com. And if you want to call into the office, 403-217-0003. And we'd be happy to connect and have that conversation.